This announcement by the White House is making waves through the Bitcoin industry, and it could send Bitcoin to an all-time high in the next 6 days. Before you tell me to calm down, let's dive in to what this White House crypto summit could mean for the entire industry and why everybody on the internet is freaking out about how quickly they're turning this around. So, if you missed it, if you're living under a rock, yesterday, the White House announced that they are going to be hosting the first ever crypto summit. Now, as Donald Trump has come out and shown, he is one of the most bullish Bitcoin presidents that we've ever had. In fact, he is the first ever Bitcoin president that we've ever had in the White House. Now, throwing this White House crypto summit is absolutely massive, and it's going to make waves throughout the entire industry throughout the entire month. Now, it's not just me saying this. We've got the man, the myth, the legend, David Bailey, also diving heavily into this. Now, why does he say that Bitcoin can be taken off and the rocket ship is about to explode here in the month of March? Well, he's saying that look out for Bitcoin on the balance sheet for businesses, TradFi and Bitcoin here in March, Bitcoin adoption in the Middle East, Bitcoin policy in DC, Bitcoin adoption in Asia, in my humble opinion, new all-time high in March. He's saying this when Bitcoin crashed, folks. We're at 85K. So he's saying all this with Bitcoin at this low. Now, before you guys start to freak out here, I'm gonna toss on my new glasses like my counterpart Luke Mikic has, just to say that this is absolutely massive for the industry because he's bringing on business leaders, he's bringing on CEOs, he's bringing all of these people in a very short period of time, which means they've been planning this for quite some time here. So they've been planning this Bitcoin I guess crypto summit to a lesser extent. I know I hate that word, but they're hosting this crypto summit here, and it's under Trump's quote pro digital asset agenda. Look, I'm a Bitcoin only guy, but I think signaling that hey, they're going to host this, they're going to do all this within a week's period of time, that is absolutely massive. Everybody's dropping everything and going down and saying this is going to be the first ever crypto president that's going to be rostered by crypto industry heavyweights, founders, CEOs, and investors, alongside members of the president's working group of digital assets. Now, who does that include? Who is some of the major founders here? Of course, we've got the man, the Giga Chad himself, Michael Saylor, most likely to attend. We've got the likes of Cynthia Lummis, who's come out onto national television and saying things like, hey, we're looking at Bitcoin where you spend your Bitcoin, you save in dollars, right? So if you go through Saylor, he announced like not too long ago that he was here looking at the he was speaking the to the the House of Financial Services Committee and the Rep French Hill to discuss digital assets and how we can make the US a global leader in Bitcoin and crypto. So look, I know that it's a little bit of speculation here, folks, but I think that we're going to see a major announcement come through this Friday. Now, what usually happens with all of this? We usually see that there's going to be some sort of press conference or some sort of announcement, and it happens within a short period of time. What did we just see? We saw that the White House released this statement literally yesterday saying, hey, we're going to have this and everybody get to DC within the week. So with this, right, it looks like there's going to be some sort of major announcement. It's a quote crypto roundtable, right? So David Sachs, is bringing together all of these prominent holders, and they'll convene at the White House with Donnie T, the legend Donnie T. We see President Trump hosting it with key figures, and the summit follows the crypto and AI czar David Sachs' first public remarks, emphasizing the importance of keeping digital asset innovations within the US. And many are saying it's not just me, right? You guys could be saying, hey, Brandon, why are you speculating so much on all of this? Why are you saying that, hey, this could be groundbreaking? Well, it's saying here, everybody looking at the first ever is going to set the groundwork for regulatory clarity and economic growth in the digital asset sector. Now, what is something that has been absolutely major here for President Trump? What has been a very bullish signal here in the US? Well, it's been a lot of the regulation and the regulatory clarity. Look, I hate regulation as much as the next guy, but for putting Bitcoin on the balance sheets for businesses, for states to hold Bitcoin, for all of these things, for all of these giant entities to come in and pump our bags, they've been asking for regulatory clarity, right? So these big dogs need some regulatory clarity. And so President Trump has come in and delivered confidence on that, right? He's delivered confidence saying that there's rules in place. Look, I hate it as much as you. But there's no denying that the SAB 121, where banks can custody your Bitcoin, I'm not encouraging you guys to do that, but it was groundbreaking in the facts that now banks are going to embrace it. The FASB of the ruling change of allowing companies to hold Bitcoin on the balance sheets and then report that as earnings has made MicroStrategy the potentially the wealthiest company in the world, as they're going to continue to buy Bitcoin at an accelerated rate. They've even changed their name to Strategy. I know you guys in the comments love to correct me and tell me, hey, Brandon, what are you doing, you old geezer? They've changed it to Strategy. I think all of these factors here are leading into a very positive movement here in the Bitcoin industry, right? So we're going to see there's regulations around it, yada yada yada, but Saylor and the likes of that, people coming in and basically some closet Bitcoiners, even though they've got to use the word crypto, digital asset, all of these things, it's going to be absolutely vital here. I think that this is going to be huge. The one thing that I think is unique through all of this is that we're still seeing a very low percent chance of this Bitcoin strategic reserve. I had a feeling that once we saw this announcement happen, that maybe, just maybe, this is what they would be announcing. They would be announcing, hey, Bitcoin strategic reserve, we've signed the executive order, book it. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It doesn't look like that's going to be a case here. But let's look at this, right? We'll look at it in 2025. We've seen those odds go from nearly 60% to when Trump was elected. It went down to the lowest of 40%, and now it's floating around at 41%, right? So we still got a very low percent chance, at least, according to Polymarket here, which, Polymarket is what it is. I think it's one of the more trusted places where we could actually get some of those odds in. So I think that Polymarket is a place where we can look at the Bitcoin strategic reserve and say, hey, is this a possibility here? I think it is, but it is a lower possibility, right? It's not necessarily the top possibility. But let's go back to this tweet from David Bailey. Why was this so important? Why is this something that we should be keeping an eye on, right? Pull this one back up for you guys here, folks. So March, big month. Part of it, Bitcoin adoption in Asia, Bitcoin adoption in the Middle East. Well, what is in Asia, or what is in the Middle East here, is Bitcoin MENA, this conference that David Bailey hosted not too long ago. And there's been rumors about Bitcoin being bought by the UAE, Saudi, and Qatar here for quite some time. Look, what's the date of this article here? It says November 13th, 2024. So there's been rumors of this going on for a while. Now, why is this big? Well, we've had many of the world's largest sovereign wealth funds talking about Bitcoin. We've got Norway, who's doubled and tripled up on MicroStrategy. They even bought Bitcoin themselves. We've got the UAE with one of the biggest sovereign wealth funds, and they're an energy giant. They could simply just capture all of this flare gas that they're bringing along and potentially be mining Bitcoin. Who knows? They could be doing it already. That's what the rumors are circulating around here. And as we know in the Bitcoin space, when there is smoke, there is fire, folks. When there's smoke, there is fire, especially in the Bitcoin industry and to a lesser extent, the crypto industry, right? I mean, it seems like whenever we are worried about these things, whenever we're looking at these things, it seems like we've got a lot of potential people looking at where Bitcoin is going, right? And we've got a lot of people keeping eyes on things like this, right? The Saudis, UAE, what are they doing here? But I think it's interesting that we've had Senator Cynthia Lummis come out and say, hey, we're going to look at the states to lead this Bitcoin charge. We're not going to look at the overall United States policy. So it's going to be interesting. And I think we all should keep a close eye on what state senators are attending this, governors, high up people in each states, because it'll give us some of an idea of the next states to potentially implement some sort of Bitcoin policy. Now, like I said, I love Polymarket. I've been looking at it a lot. I think it's interesting when you look at Bitcoin Reserve, the two states that they're naming here are Texas and North Carolina, and that's it. And the results. All I did was search Bitcoin Reserve. You guys can see it here, right? Will Trump create the Bitcoin Reserve? Will there be one in 2025? Texas, will it be signed into law at the end of this month? Will it be signed in 2025? All of these are below 50% chance. So as a betting man, you don't like those odds that much. But hey, I think it's interesting that we do have these things floating. And I think it has something to do with the price, right? If Bitcoin was ripping and rolling here, if we saw Bitcoin at 120, 130, if we saw Bitcoin really pushing the needle here, I think that it would be more people kind of talking about Bitcoin as a strategic reserve, a lot of these other things. But I've got something in store for you here, folks. For those that were here yesterday, you guys know I was my great sponsor, the Bitcoin Well. They have, see, you guys could all see the wishing well that I've got. They're going to give out free sats now if you guys come and attend these live streams. So get your Lightning wallets ready because we're going to start flicking a coin down the well. And if you guys want to join, you can go to bitcoinwell.com/green candle. They'll give you your own wishing well tokens yourself. If you go to bitcoinwell.com/wishing well, the more Bitcoin you buy, the more tokens you'll get. And you have the chance to win 1 million sats with this. That could be life-changing money here. That's like $860 now, just under 1,000 smackers. So get your Lightning wallets ready, folks. Get your scans out because here we go. We're going to shoot this down the wishing well and see what we got. Ooh, some 500 sats. So somebody get this out here quickly and sign that or and scan that. Claim those sats here quick, folks, because as we know, this can help with this can help with your DCA and everything else. So go ahead and scan that. I'll leave this up here for a minute so we can get some people in the chat. I'll come here and read some of this chat here. As my man SF Hodl is saying, we all know it will be scammy. Hopefully there will be some Bitcoin signal buried in there somewhere. I do agree that it will be something related to the crypto industry. And, you know, hopefully, just hopefully, we won't see everybody essentially scamming here. I think Michael Saylor is going to be potentially our knight in shining armor here. And I think that that's going to be what we're going to see. As my man All-Nighter Hider in the chat is saying, those with Stockholm Syndrome will feel better with regulations. I agree with you. My man Rare in the chat saying, remove taxation on Bitcoin, then it's news. I think that this could happen here sometime soon, right? I think that this is something that could happen. And yes, I did, as my man All-Nighter Hider is saying here, I did get the aviator pairs, so I hope you guys like them and smoke that like Cheech and Chong. I'll give you guys one more. All right. So I don't know if anybody scanned that here, but we'll do this one more from the wishing well to give you guys some more sats. So let's see what we got here. Boom, 210 sats. So hopefully you guys got that first one with 500, but keep on getting it there. Um, the when as stocks is saying, when does the strategic Bitcoin reserve here come? As we were talking here a little bit earlier, I'll leave this up here in a second so you guys can do that. But if you're looking at the Bitcoin strategic reserve, it's looking like it's not necessarily going to happen in 2025. We're looking at it as something that is potentially going to happen a little bit later on. Right now, Polymarket is saying it is less likely than not to actually occur in 2025, 40% chance. So we still got a puncher's chance, but it doesn't look like it's necessarily going to happen here just yet. We're looking at it that it's less likely than not. And if you're looking at it from an overall state's perspective, too, it doesn't look like Polymarket is loving the idea that this could happen here in 2025. But Polymarket doesn't have all the inside knowledge, right? David Bailey, who's had President Trump at his Bitcoin conference, he's been in Bitcoin Media, he's been throwing conferences in Asia as well, Bitcoin Asia, and he's been all around the globe, and he's been talking to a lot of these people, throwing the largest Bitcoin events in the world. He's out there openly saying, hey, look out for these things, and then within this next month, right? Look out for these things within this next month. So I think he knows something that we don't. I think that he'll be front and center in this Bitcoin, or no, excuse me, the White House Crypto Summit. And if anybody has a connect to get me in, please holler at your boy because I'm trying to make it down to DC. So I could give you guys the inside scoops, and I can only speculate to a certain extent. But if you guys can help me get in, maybe tweet at some of these people, tweet at David Sachs and tell him to get me in there. But I think that we're going to see Bitcoin start to take off here. I think that the regulators and everybody is going to potentially start flocking towards Bitcoin here in the near future. I think the only thing holding back Bitcoin right now is, BlackRock's and the likes of manipulating the price down here. I think that they're looking at potentially pumping the bags of the big dogs. I did a live stream yesterday talking about how the whales are actively buying Bitcoin at an extensive rate. And I think that that's going to continue to happen. But I do think that when it's calm on the Western front in the Bitcoin land, that's when people are going to be buying up, and we're going to see some bullish news come soon. And I think that this is interesting because we're seeing Bitcoin, it's down year to date. What are we at? -9% year to date. That's when things get juicy, folks. This is when people are looking at it as a buying opportunity. We had BlackRock yesterday. I did a live stream on it, say that you need to allocate 1 to 2% of your portfolio for the optimal one. Rare is saying that I'm buying, or asking if I'm buying. Of course, I'm buying Rare. I'm buying Bitcoin on a daily basis, my friend. So always looking to stack more and more sats because that's the way to do it. Stocks is saying that he predicts 150K USD by the end of the year. Stocks, I've been openly saying this. I see it at a minimum. My base case is 250K. That's not financial advice, folks, but that's what I'm saying. I could see still 250K this year. We're down at 80, and everybody's freaking out. A 20% dip. You don't think we could see Bitcoin 3x that this year? I definitely think that this could happen. I think that we still have a lot of bullish news, the potential of sovereign wealth funds coming in, and the potential for strategic reserves to happen, and more companies starting to put on Bitcoin on their balance sheet. I talked about a lot of the benefits of Bitcoin with my man Tony from the Bitcoin Way. They've been very great in sponsoring the show. So go ahead and check out the interview with Tony. He's got an absolutely great story. He actually had his bank account seized in Lebanon. So go ahead and check it out and go and watch it. Give Tony a like. Give Tony in the Bitcoin Way a follow. Tell me what you think in the comments of that, and let me know about what you guys thought of that interview and everything else. And thank you guys all for joining in. Why don't you guys hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend, and go check out that interview with Tony at the Bitcoin Way shortly after this.